Okay, so this is my spoiler-filled review for the Batman. If you haven't seen the Batman, don't listen to this video. But if you have, I want to go into more of what I was talking about with Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I want to talk about Martha Wayne being in Arkham. Like, not in Arkham, but Anne Arkham. Her original name, I think, was Martha Arkham. And I liked how they said the two families were the Waynes and the Arkhams. Like the founding families of Gotham. I don't know if this was in the comics, like if Martha was a, descendant of the Arkham family. I don't believe it was. I don't believe I've ever read any comics where she was. And I think this is really interesting because it reminds me of Gotham, the TV series, where Barbara Gordon ended up becoming this psychopath because, like, she also ended up killing her family, as, like, in the show they made it like a brainwashing technique, but then it turned out it wasn't. It was something complicated like that, but it kind of reminded me of that. And the fact that Bruce Wayne's mother was in, like, a mental hospital, I thought that was very interesting. I also thought it was interesting that they made Selina Falcone's daughter, because I haven't read the Catwoman When in Rome comic that Jeff Loeb did, I believe. I wonder if that's a part of it, but I think that Selina Kyle, she's always been cool as being just if she was an orphan, or if she wasn't related to anyone, it's totally fine. But by her being also connected to Falcone, it added a sense of connection for the story, because having Falcone be responsible for Bruce's parents' death and having him also being responsible for Selina's mother's death, I liked it. I thought it worked. I thought that Zoe Kravitz played that scene incredibly well when she's like, I'm Maria Kyle's child, and I'm gonna kill you now. And can I just talk about how cool Zoe Kravitz looks with a gun? I don't know if anyone ever looked that cool holding a gun. Not even John Wick. Like, she, honestly, I could see a Catwoman movie just about her. And I will say, I wish that she used her whip more, but maybe they'll probably use it in other movies or shows down the road. But we were all teased. I remember my theater, we got a little excited when she just steps off her motorcycle, grabs that whip, and she's like, I think it was a whip though. Well, it was either a whip or some chains, but like, it's like, oh snap, that's the Catwoman whip. She's gonna go kick some ass. And then sure enough, bam, it's gone. She doesn't use it the rest of the movie. And I know, like, she didn't need to use it. Anne Hathaway never used one. But I wanted more of the whip action. The Riddler is an interesting character because I thought that by having him be inspired by Batman, it gave the character more dimension. And I love the idea that Batman inspires these villains to become villains. Because once a superhero gets onto the scene, there has to be other people that feel the need to be villains, or at least take on that superhero. And I like that in the Riddler's case, he wasn't bad for the sake of being bad. He believed in his cause, which was that the rich and the wealthy of Gotham were corrupt, and that he needed to prove that the ones that have been looked down upon are the ones that should be paid attention to and given just equal time. I love that he used Batman's own methods of vengeance against the very people that Batman's trying to protect. I also loved that he doesn't know Bruce Wayne's identity, because in the theater, I had this conversation with friends of mine. I have some friends of mine who thought that he did know his identity, and then others that think he doesn't, and I thought he didn't. And the trailers were a little scary, because the trailers we thought had revealed that big surprise that, oh, he knows he's Bruce Wayne, but really, he doesn't. He was just saying that Bruce Wayne is the only guy that he couldn't kill. And I really, really appreciate that they didn't make Riddler know Bruce Wayne's identity. I also like how Riddler isn't Bruce Wayne's brother, because I was wondering if they would do that. I probably had no problem with it, but it looked like it was so obvious, the way that he's like, it's all pointed toward the Waynes, and the sins of the father. I thought they were going to say something, and it could have been a bit cheesy, but they didn't go that route. I love that. I wonder why they call him Edward Nashton, though. I wonder if Edward Nygma is going to be his, like, new name, or if that's, like, not even a thing. Because this is something kind of like what the Dark Knight trilogy did with how it named its characters. Even, like, Bane, for instance. We don't know Bane's real name in The Dark Knight Rises. He's just Bane. There's a lot of cool... I think the idea of making these villains their name, the Riddler, is way more powerful than who they are behind the mask, whether it's Edward Nygma, Edward Nashton, because it's their legacy that lives on. And it looks like Riddler is going to be a very integral part of the series. I wasn't too big of a fan of the ending with the Riddler and Joker, because it just felt like something a CW show would do to tease a second season, and I thought that Matt Reeves and the filmmakers were a little bit more above that. This is something that Christopher Nolan never would have done. I love Batman Begins so much because one of the reasons is that the ending is just so subtle. The ending of that Joker card is so subtle. It's not like one of those end credit scenes at an MCU movie really tagging another film. It's just a thing. This is an opportunity we can go in the future, but we don't need to go there now. The problem I have with the ending of The Batman is, even though we were most likely, I'd say 95% sure that we were getting a sequel to this movie, I still don't like movies ending on like these tags for another film that may or may not happen. I think that studios need to go beyond this, because it just, personally, it doesn't look good on the movie. You don't have movies made that, you know, some of the greatest movies of all time, they don't end on those teases. Even even if you look at Spider-Man 1, the first Spider-Man movie, Harry sees that Spider-Man drops off his father's dead body, and he hates Spider-Man for it. But it's not like Spider-Man 2, where Harry discovers the Green Goblin outfits, and he's going to go wear them. By the time they made Spider-Man 2, they knew for sure they were going to make a third Spider-Man. When you start off a franchise teasing other films, it's a little bit... sometimes it feels like they're thinking way too over their head, but I don't know. Still, I'm looking forward to Barry Keoghan's Joker. I'm looking forward to seeing where Batman goes. I really want to see what he can do to upgrade. I love the tech he had in this. I love the Batmobile. The Batmobile scene was amazing, but I specifically loved his detective work. And I didn't go into this in my non-spoiler review, but the whole detective work of this movie was really cool. And I loved his eye contact lenses analyzing information. I don't think we've ever seen that before in a movie, so I thought that was really good. But yeah, overall, love the Batman. It's by far one of the best comic book films of all time. And yeah, thank you for watching this video. And if you like it, subscribe and have a nice day.